Could a sick man do this? La 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 la. La 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 la. He's back. He's cured. I would say I'm like 95% cured. I rode the Peloton this morning. I don't want to brag too much. 366 kilojoules, average of 203 watts. Listen, that's not PB territory, but it's like 90% of the PB, considering I coughed up an oyster while I was on the Peloton and just had to look at it for the next 22 minutes as it lingered there on my gym mat. I'm pretty proud of that, honestly. Me singing to my loogie that I coughed up on the gym mat. You know I'm such a fool for you. Had you wrapped around my pharynx, dear. Did I have to let it linger? But I did have to let it linger because I was clipped in. Bunch of particles equals more blur on compression. New compression format should come soon, AV1, so stream should look better. Bishox, with all due respect, what the fuck are you talking about? Know your role in chat. Your role is to take the Super Auto Pets plays too seriously and then like resort to personal attacks that cross the line. Why are you talking to me about video codecs? Better quality for same bitrate, AV.1 decoder? Wait, with all due respect, what are you talking about? You guys work in the Twitch engineering department? If so, could you patch me through to the C-suite? I got some bones to pick recently. It's because of the electrical interference. Now that I respect, okay? Did you get the Marvel Snap Battle Pass? Absolutely I did. $13.99 Canadian is literally it's quite literally, in a literal sense, the same price as a good Subway sandwich. If that was such a thing that existed. Scientists have theorized the existence of a Subway sandwich that is not garbage. We have not observed it yet, but maybe it's one of those weird things like the Higgs boson, where you cannot observe it. You can merely infer its existence from forces that are imparted on other observable particles within the scientific landscape. Hold on, I think it's a one tissue kind of stream, and you can take me out of context on that. I'm gonna go get one tissue, and I think that's gonna last me the next 5 hours. I freaked out my wife. Can you imagine watching a stream and then the streamer says, I'll be right back, and then they walk out of the room right next to you? Today on Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Parasocial relationships. In the modern day, that's all some people have. Today's story tells the tale of what happens when the fake relationship on a screen is more real than the real relationship between your ears. It's called When the Streamer Comes Out of the Room Next to You, and it's directed by Ari Aster. Listen, you know I'm no Elon Musk fan. I will say, he's been talking about the bot problem on Twitter, okay? As of today, I made one tweet, and I did not have any, like, Adobe composite 3D image of a human face avatar that doesn't actually exist respond with a string of text that is like, Hercules macaroni and cheese. Check this out, bit.ly/definitely not a virus. I don't know if it's just a coincidence or if it seems like maybe it's just happenstance. But at the very least, I haven't had any deepfakes trying to steal my my credentials. Now, if he could just sell it immediately after doing that, that would be really nice. Why is there a bot called northernlion arrow telegram on some of your videos? Because YouTube also can't figure out the bot spam problem. Like every popular YouTuber that is on YouTube has that shit going on in every comment section. It's a full-time job to delete the comments, and they just keep coming back. I'm hoping that the average person in my audience is smart enough to know that I would not be like just a video of me yelling at chat that came from Twitch, and then there's a bot in the comments going, "Hey, love you guys. Wanted to spend some time talking with you individually on a personal level in my downtime, which I have a copious amount of right now. Click this link to have a conversation with." I'm hoping that the average, I'm sure we can't get 100% of the people on the same page there, but surely we can get like 95 at least. Asshole. Wait, you didn't get my Bitcoin? Hank! Hank! Honestly, like, here's the thing. If I ever am in a place where I send you a private message as a chatter and I'm like, let's have a conversation off stream, you better hope it's a bot. Because otherwise, I've gone through some fucking turmoil. I've gone through some trauma. I'm gonna, if it was actually me, there would probably be no difference because I would be there like asking you for money. The only difference is it would be going to me instead of a robot, but still. Yeah, or I'd be trying to like convert you to some kind of cult or something like that. I'd be like, hey, just so you know, like, here's the thing. Yeah, like I get 80% of your tithes, but at the same time, your teeths. I get 80% of your teeths, but at the same time, that's just because you're part of my my upline. Okay, so if you can convert 12 more people into the cult, then they'll become part of your upline, and everyone that they get in their downline will become part of your upline, and you only need to get like 365 people underneath you, and then you get access to heaven. Do get it twisted. Some of you guys don't know your lion can drink up to 3 slurp juices. I know I'm making like some enemies today, or at least I'm just talking smack for no reason. But how funny is it that, okay, and maybe funny is not the right word, depending on your positions. But how hilarious is it that Facebook stock is down 71% year to date because Mark Zuckerberg can't stop blowing $20 million a quarter trying to rebuild VR chat that nobody wants at all? I know how this sounds, like this is a personal attack, and I mean it this way. Did I say million? I meant to say billion. If I said million, I mean, that's pocket change. But like, this is what happens when, someone invents a website and then we, for 15 years, talk about them as if they're like a business genius that can do no wrong. We built up these huge Silicon Valley egos. We fed the cult of personality that they're visionaries and nobody. Wow, they're like today's modern day Edison because they made like hot or not, but you could give them your phone number or something like that. You could click a little thumbs up button. So now this guy, he's like, my social media website is dying, but I'm the goose that lays golden eggs, so I'm gonna just come up with another top tier invention. And everyone's like, Mark, please, for the love of God. $26 billion this quarter into the metaverse. Can you stop? And he's like, I don't have to. I own 55% of my company. It's crazy, but also very funny. But feel free to, I'm going to delete this clip without a doubt if the metaverse ends up becoming like something that we all spend our entire lives in. If the metaverse turns out to be one of the most world-changing inventions of all time, this clip is not going to survive, okay? No shot. Yeah, I know, but I gotta bake in the hedge at least, like Mattress Mac. React Chord is where we look at some of the most insane creative writing prompts that have ever been written, one of the finest fiction minds the world has ever known. And we check it out. Here's one, for example. Am I the asshole for missing my father-in-law's funeral after my mother-in-law booked my husband first class, but me economy? That can't conceivably be a true story, but at the same time, I want to check it out. In that moment, that particular moment, I felt so, in that, why is it written like a musical? In that moment, that particular moment, I felt so much humiliation and contempt. You know what I realized? I've realized this a long time ago, but it's nice for this to be put into a more coalescible form, if that makes sense, okay? Some people don't see their life as a comedy. Some people take life very, very, very seriously. Now, I'm kind of a serious guy in some ways. I try to, I live my life according to a series of values, a code, if you will. Jonathan, at the Continental, you do not shoot anybody in the head at the Continental restaurant, Jonathan, or you'll be disbarred. We will confiscate all your gold pirate coins, Jonathan. But if this happened to me, hypothetically, I think I would instantly switch into Ben Stiller in Meet the Parents mode. I would feel like I'm in a early 2000s like romantic comedy. I think I would find it a little humorous if my wife's parents bought my wife a first class ticket and they bought me an economy ticket, I'll admit that it's not really fair because I have an outlet for absurdity. Like when something that might annoy other people happens to me in public, it's less annoying sometimes because I know I get to farm it for content on Twitch. But I think I would laugh at it both at the time and like also probably like 100 times as I told the story over and over again until people listening to me got sick of it. It would have been, it's almost like you gave me a gift. Rather than have a first class ticket, you gave me a story that I can tell for like hopefully the next 50 years or something like that. I also like, I don't know, people so you got to consider your phrasing here, but people are really blowing up, if this is a true story, which is probably not, but people are really blowing up their families over like the slightest injustice, right? It's not that I get that you would be offended that your mother-in-law did this, but is it really worth blowing up like your relationship with your husband and your husband's family just because you feel disrespected? You're gonna get disrespected from time to time. I don't know if this is good advice, but like there's some situations where you say, hey, knock that shit off, treat me better than that. And then there's some situations where you say, all right, I'm going to eat that one up. That's just one, like, to be honest with you, you got to tank that one. What's the longest flight between two states in the United States? JFK to Honolulu or something like that? What's that, like 6 hours? But in all likelihood, this is probably like a 3-hour flight. Suck it up for 3 hours. And then you laugh with your husband about how your mother-in-law treats you differently. Or, I mean, like, to be honest, and I'm being straight up with you, I know this, hero's not a word that we use lightly, okay? If this happened to me, if my parents, which they wouldn't, because they love my wife, but if my parents bought me a first-class ticket and Kate an economy ticket, I would let her take the first-class ticket. Even if I was grieving, I would let her take the first-class ticket. So I do think that the husband could have nipped this one in the bud. His dad died, though. So what, you're grieving in first class versus grieving in economy? He's going to be like bawling his eyes out. Is like, nothing could bring my dad back, but it would be really nice to have a chair that converts into a lie-down bed. If anything, if you're truly suffering, you might as well sit in coach because it's a proper environment for it. And let your wife, like, I can't really put myself in their shoes, okay? But I might be like, hey, my dad died. I'm just gonna like, put my head up against the window and like try to take a nap or like close my eyes or something like that. Why don't you go in first class and have like a few mimosas? I'm not saying like you should party it up, but like, that's the right environment. I don't really feel like celebrating in first class with the creme de la creme of society here, Who knows? Plus, here's the thing. She could be doing some networking up there, too. You're not in a position to network. I've always said your network is your net worth. So she could be schmoozing a little bit up there while you're a little out of commission. I'm just saying that's what I would do, okay? But really, all I'm trying to do is illustrate that there's, like, many different solutions that could have come along the way to prevent this from getting to the point where like you and your husband might get a divorce just because like you didn't want to sit in a slightly less comfortable chair. I get that it's not about the chair, but it is about the chair because you could have made it about the chair if you just sat down in the chair. You're actually annoyed because the mother-in-law is respecting you less than she respects her own son, which of course, like you expect, if push came to shove, your parents would have your back and be in your corner instead of, the corner of your spouse. But, we all got to pretend that it's like, yeah, Kate's parents love me as much as they love their own daughter, of course. Like, no doubt about it. Anyway. But the point is, you don't have to let it get to that point to begin. Someone's got to tank. Someone's got to take the role of Ben Stiller in Meet the Parents that takes all the abuse and just puts a smile on their face and then lets it all out later and says, can you deal with that? Although, to be fair, Ben Stiller in Meet the Parents, most of the time, he's the good guy. But he does do some unredeemable stuff. I mean, it's no doubt that it's like an everyone sucks here. Like, the mother-in-law should have bought them tickets both on the same level. But I also think that and whether that's two first class or two economy, they should be sitting together because it's the emotional support between them that's the most important part. The wife here also sucks because she didn't have to throw like a nail bomb into her family over this. She could have just sat in coach and like watched a movie and, you know, eaten some pita chips or something like that. And then it's no big deal. You just eat it for a few hours and then, you know, do your job. No offense, but you know, your job is to just be. It's not your family's funeral. You know, you're supposed to be there and you're like emotional support. Okay, you're tanking and support, which doesn't seem fair, but it's not worth blowing up the whole squad. Okay, that's fine. Read the edit. I read it. What do you want me to say? Like, this doesn't change anything. One of the reasons I didn't settle for the economy ticket is because I wanted to sit next to my husband and support him. He sobbed the whole ride to the airport, and I didn't want to leave his side. Okay, and the other reason is that I felt disrespected by I felt disrespected by my mother-in-law. And then the other reason is that economy's not as nice as first class. That is true as well. I didn't want to leave his side until he told me we couldn't sit together, at which point I left his side for the entire weekend rather than leave it for 3 hours entirely. You're the asshole. Yes, it was very shitty. User received Reddit shooting star for this post, by the way. It was very shitty from your mother-in-law to book you in economy class while your husband was in first class. But you let a petty... I love the bold text, man. I love the BB code. But you let a petty quarrel with your mother-in-law prevent you from supporting your husband when he needed you the most. I won't say everybody sucks here. The husband doesn't suck, and the mother-in-law just lost her lifelong partner. Have to pay for plane tickets for 2 persons, and she wanted to pay a little treat to her son. I am giving her the benefit of the doubt that she did this to spoil her son, not to piss off her dill. I still think that makes her an asshole. I mean, not like as dyed in the wool, like every action she takes is an asshole, but like it's an asshole move. I don't think it's like when your spouse dies, I don't think you get like a 1 month long period where you're in like a mini purge where you can do whatever you want free of judgment. You consider the actions within the context of the emotional situation that the person's in, but when you get a cold, you do. I couldn't commit crimes. I could just say some messed up and problematic stuff and then immediately do my impression of Colin Farrell from the Batman and say, I'm literally just a guy. What are you doing to me? Point 1 to the mother-in-law. She will now forever be able to say she didn't even come to the funeral. Look how she didn't support my son in his time of need. And don't get me wrong, the mother-in-law is a complete asshole for this, but no one in the family will care about the plane seats. They'll just remember OP wasn't there. Okay, I mean, I agree with a lot of this, but this is actually how some people see their familial relationships, and that's very sad to me. You literally just had an unforced error to your mother-in-law. Your mother-in-law, she has an advantage over you. She's about to break your serve, okay? You had service, you got a single fault, and then an unforced error. You blundered your queen in the 5th set, not to mix metaphors. You gave your mother-in-law an end one in a tie game in the 4th quarter. Everybody sucks here. Your mother-in-law won. Well, it can get crazier, apparently. I apologize for getting stun-locked by the relatively sane comment. It was most likely her intention to cause a fight, and she won because you didn't go. Now she gets to bash you for not attending. You didn't support your hubs when he needed it. So now all the nasty things she whispers in his ear while he's there, he's going to agree, you. You were put in a losing situation either way. This whole thing sucks. Sorry this happened to you. Hey, you fucked up really bad. Sorry this happened to you. Would love to know your thoughts on this. This is gonna cause some disagreement in chat. Everybody sucks here also includes the husband. He could have solved the issue the same way that the wife could have Ben Stillered it. The husband could have Ben Stillered it. Now I understand in context, he's grieving. Obviously. So he's A, not thinking straight, and B, emotionally vulnerable. That being said, at any moment he could have stepped in and said, can I get a downgrade? We'll trade seats. Like, I'm going to text my mom and tell her, like, when we got the tickets, I'm going to text my mom and tell her, like, that's not cool. Why don't you just put us both in economy and save your money instead? Like, there's so many different opportunities for him to have completely... It's like, listen, if you're walking and you're walking on the train tracks, you shouldn't be doing that to begin with. You definitely shouldn't go into the tunnel. He must have gotten an email that was like, "Hey, honey, here's your flights home." And then he looked at it and said, well, "I'm in seat 1A and she's in seat like 35J." And then emailed his mom and been like, "Hey, this is I understand what you're trying to do here, but like I want to sit with my wife throughout the entirety of the flight, okay? So either get us 2 first-class tickets, or you can downgrade mine and save your money and spend it on yourself because you're grieving as well." But I will, like, the core of this issue for me is so common on Am I the Asshole, which is I refuse to ever be even slightly disrespected. And not like, some of them are like, "My wife slightly disrespected me. What should I do?" And all the comments are like, it could literally be some shit like she ate my shredded cheese out of the bag in the fridge when I told her not to once, even though she was really hungry. Every one of the comments is like, "She doesn't respect you. Get a divorce before she does," which is crazy. But then some of them are like, "My wife's nephew said something to me at a family gathering and my wife didn't tell him to knock it off. What should we do?" And everybody's like, "Literally, you got to get out of this family. They're crazy." This shit happens all the time. Like, if your spouse is doing something disrespectful to you consistently and you tell them to knock it off and they keep doing it, that's one thing. But like, your spouse's relative doing something once that's like a mild slight and then blowing up your whole life over it is idiocy. This pride comes before the fall. There are no sane people on Reddit, though. That's true. That's fair enough. Am I the asshole for calling out my husband's coworker's wife for trying to flush a maxi pad down the toilet? People are crazy about plumbing. This one's just, it seems petty, but people take the plumbing very seriously. You should have seen the way my mom reacted when I told her, I cleaned up some cat vomit with a single square of paper towel. And then I went to throw it in the garbage, and she said, "Don't throw it in the garbage, it'll smell." And I said, "Okay, I'll just flush it down the toilet." She looked at me like I just told her, like, I had 2 days to live. Flush it down the toilet? You can't flush paper towel down the toilet. It'll clog up the sewer system for the whole city. Millions of people's pipes are going to get clogged as a result of that. Have you no sympathy for the people in the... I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll throw it in the garbage then. I'll deal with the smell." My sense of smell hasn't been the same since I was like 15 for some reason. So I graduated high school, went to college, and then like a week later I was like, I can't smell anything? Anybody else in the same boat? Same? What's up with that? You know what I think it was? I think it was when I had my first beer, my body just took all the blood that was going to my nose and said, "Go to the liver instead." We had a good run. Keep breathing, of course. But we need this material elsewhere. Okay, here, insanity. Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop taking showers with her husband? Oh, okay, maybe not insanity. I thought this was, am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop taking showers with my husband in my house? Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop taking showers with her husband in my house? What? This is madness. Even ignoring the mitigating scenarios of your sister and her husband being forced to live with you because they lost their apartment because their child is ill. Like, even if you, which makes their situation that much more sympathetic. Even if you removed that, this is insane. I don't know if people are, listen, again, hero's not a word we use lightly. If I had a house with a guest room and I invited a married couple to stay with us for a night, for a weekend, for a couple days, if they have sexual intercourse with each other, that's kind of the cost of doing business. I don't understand I'm not saying they have to, because that's like equally weird, but like, they can if they want to. It's not like abnormal. I don't understand the problem. I'm not going to invite like a couple that's romantically linked into my house and be like, under no circumstances is that allowed, because I'm like a normal human being. I will say the one thing that I'll say is them doing it in the only shower in the house. I wouldn't be that grossed out, but I could understand why someone would be. Because I'm like a rat. I wouldn't be into it, but I would be like, yeah, they fucked in the shower. Who cares? Like, it's self-cleaning. It's like an oven. You know, the shower cleans itself every time you get in. But like, if someone was like, if you just do that, can you clean the shower afterwards? I would be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I can understand why you would feel that way. I will say, maybe, and this might make me a bit of a prude, that's about as far as it goes, though. The guest bed or the shower, if I like went out to run an errand and then like a second later I was like, ooh, actually I forgot my reusable bags, and I see that you're like bent over the kitchen island or something like that, I'd be like, that's disrespectful. I understand the appeal, I suppose. There's a bit of a thrill, but could you, while you're staying in my house, could you just do it in the bed or the shower? I walk around on the kitchen floor barefoot sometimes. I don't want to step in anything. I just like, that's all I'm asking for, okay? I think that's a reasonable standard. But like in the shower, who cares? I know there's going to be a lot of like moralizing in here, that in the comments that's like, they're going through an emotionally hard time right now. And that's true, but like it's also completely like irrelevant. I think it's a plumbing issue. There's no way it's a plumbing issue, because then the husband would be like, it's a plumbing issue. Husbands love talking about that kind of stuff. It's a plumbing issue. You're wasting water somehow by taking a shower that's as long as one person's normal shower, but getting two people clean. I know the people are also going to be like, oh, your husband is jealous. He feels threatened because he's not getting what they have, and he feels slighted. Look, that might be true, but they also, for all I know, the husband and wife might be doing it all the time, and he might just be like kind of a freak that's like, no, I don't pay a mortgage so other people can fuck in my house. I pay a mortgage so that I can fuck in my house. So like, I don't think you can infer that the husband is like just not getting any and he's like upset by that. I think he's just the base case here is that he's just a weird guy. I just don't understand. Why do you care? Your husband came rushing in to tell you that your sister and her husband took a shower together. This is so dumb. You're the asshole. Get a life, bro. Leave them alone. They're stressed enough as it is. So true. But you had me until this edit that says obligatory. Wow, I didn't expect all the updates and awards. Thanks. More importantly, I was a bit flippant in my original comment. So I want to use my newfound fame and glory, lol, to say something to everyone saying your house, your rules. What the heck is this? It's a viewer? Or they need to get a hotel. That's all fine and good. We're here to give our opinions on the situation. But can we remember, this couple just lost their home. They're in serious medical debt. They have a sick child. The likelihood of their marriage surviving the immense stress and hardship they're experiencing is statistically low. I'm not a marriage counselor. I think if they're going through a very stressful situation, they're staying in somebody else's house and they're fucking in the damn shower, they're doing fine. It seems like they've built an incredible bond. I don't think you need to say the likelihood of their marriage surviving is statistically low. Like, that's like serious source. I made it the hell up. It seems like they got dealt a bad hand, but they're actually like, the bond between husband and wife is doing okay. Can we get some compassion for these people? Can you leave your personal hangups and give them some support? Can you find happiness they're making time and effort to spend together? What's really important here? Well, like, I agree, but I hate the way you said, thanks for the updates. Info. Unless they were loudly banging, why do you care? There's nothing weird or untowards by a couple showering together. My husband and I often shower together. 99% of the time, it's completely non-sexual. We find it to be a nice time to chat without fear of interruption from our kids. Dead ass, you're a freak. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard in my entire life. You're showering non-intimately with your spouse and just having a conversation in the shower? That seems... Look, it's not my life. It's cute, actually, but it sounds fucking weird to me, man. I can't do that. The shower is my time. I can't be in the shower talking about how was your day yesterday? Meanwhile, I'm like lathering up my sensitive regions and stuff like that. It's not like I'm doing anything that's not okay in there. I would just be, it's a me problem. I'd be very uncomfortable. When I'm in the shower, like, I want the water. I work for a living. I pay my mortgage. I pay my taxes. When I'm in the shower, I want the water, okay? If you were in my, I genuinely, I don't care in the slightest. If you're in my guest room and you're doing some stuff like this, it doesn't bother me at all. Just don't ask me to do it. Don't try to convert me into one of those non-sexual couple showering, having a casual conversation, holding hands and giving each other side hugs. Only spend 50% of the time when you're in the shower in the water. Come on. Makes me sick. You shouldn't care. I was in the Kitchoke area. This is a strange hang-up for him to have. Was he raised in an environment with unhealthy views about sex and intimacy? Well, yeah, this story takes place in the United States of America, so I'm going to guess that the answer is like probably yes, but we can't infer that from the amount of text in the original post. The child is so ill, they've lost their home to cover his treatment. And you freak out because they walked into the bathroom together? You're the asshole doesn't even come close. Edit. Thank you for all the upvotes and awards. Oh, man. If you feel uncomfortable about them sharing a shower, maybe as a peace offering to your sister, you can ask if they'd like a few hours of alone time together and you can take your nephew out of the house to spend time with you. Actually, you know what? This is stealth like a great point. Because she's asking how far you're willing to go for your principles. If the choice is let them go shower together, or all of a sudden I've got a babysitting job, enjoy your shower. I got stuff to do. I'm not saying I wouldn't help out when it was appropriate, but I think I would get over my hang up very fast. And I would, if they were like, hey, can you look after Billy for a little bit so me and my husband can have some alone time? I would be like, enjoy your showers. From this point forward, enjoy your showers. One of the finest negotiating minds I've ever known. So that's why I think this comment is a little genius. Is because they're basically, they're King Solomoning it, in my opinion at least. They're saying, and then if the husband is like, yes, and then the wife is like, no, then I don't know, they got to cut the shower in half or something. I don't know, I got to figure it out. I do hate how people say your house, your rules. It doesn't excuse you for being, like, insane. Obviously, like, you can set whatever rule you want in your house, but it doesn't make you, like, morally clean for it. Also, like, obviously, it doesn't preclude you from following, like, the letter of the law. But, like, you can still be, like, a dickhead. Why don't you just own being a dickhead? It always has to be like, hey, I've got, like, it might be a little insane of me to have this clause for behavior in my house. Can you wash my hands of any moral culpability here? Am I the asshole for canceling the family vacation because my husband gave our kids tickets to his widowed cousin's kids? Am I the asshole for canceling the family vacation because my husband gave our kids tickets to his widowed cousin's kids? You gotta listen, okay? Cicero has a great quote. A little hypocritical considering his net worth, according to the internet at least. Cicero said, all a man needs to be happy is a garden and a library, okay? Am I the asshole for canceling the family vacation because my husband gave our kids tickets to his widowed cousin's kids? Cicero, if you showed this post to Cicero, his head would explode. He would suffer a myocardial infarction and pass away on the spot. There's just too much stuff going on in the post. You got to simplify your life. Your life is a fraction, but you're not at the lowest common denominator right now. This is crazy. I'm the oldest of my cousins, which you believe, but it's hard for me to believe because I had a November birthday, which means that in all of my classes, I was like the youngest or second youngest. But anyway, long story. Listen, this is not relevant. It's just my own hang up. I'm the oldest of my cousins, okay? We had the rest of my cousins all live in my hometown, 5-hour flight away. I live over here, coastal elite, passing out pearls of wisdom. Why don't you just drink some kombucha? Starbucks, that's cute. Is there a JJ Bean around here? Anyway, we had our kid end of September 2020. One of my cousins had her daughter middle of October 2020. So she's like 2 weeks younger than my daughter. Everyone in the family keeps trying to like organize this stuff to get them to meet. Oh, she's got to meet her second cousin. She's got to meet her dad's brother's kid's kid. We got to get them out to like an event so we just got to get a picture of them together. And finally I just said to my mom, I was like, "Why?" And then she thought about it for a second and she was like, "You know what? It's kind of like fair enough. Like it's just because they're like me and my cousin are family, and we both had kids at roughly the same time. But those kids are not family unless they want to be. Like your cousin, for at least in my family, your cousin is about as far out as you go on the family tree. And my cousin's child is she's lumped in with my cousin as a unit, but as soon as that kid turns 18, they're a stranger to me. They just happen, that's just some lady now. If the dominoes fell, something happened to my cousin and her husband and like all of their family, and somehow it was like, hey, can you take care of her? I would be like, of course, she's family. But otherwise, if she makes it to 18 and they're like, oh, Jennifer graduated from high school today, I would be like, who the fuck is Jennifer? As of today, I don't know her. She's literally she's just a person. She's an unrelated individual. I'm not getting on it. They never say, by the way, we're going to come out to Vancouver. They never say, you want to take a picture? How about you hop on a damn plane? You come out here and you come to our house, we'll take a photo and then you can leave. It's always, you got to come back so that we could take a photo. It's a double standard, man. Anyway, sorry. I'm mostly just joking. She's a very cute baby, okay? She's very cute. Am I the asshole for not helping a child when they fell over? Today I was waiting for my girlfriend at our local park. I was waiting on a bench looking at ducks in the pond when a child right in front of me fell off of his scooter. He's probably 6. I laughed, not out loud. What? The child was crying, being dramatic, when its mother came rushing in to check if he's bleeding. He was not. He wasn't even scratched. The woman looked up to me, seeing me slightly grin, asking why I didn't help him. I responded, he isn't hurt, so why do I need to help him? She got pissy and said, if he was bleeding from his head, would you help? I said, no, probably not. She started having a go at me, acting like I should have helped a random dramatic child up from the floor when he wasn't even injured. I walked away, and from a distance, you could hear her yelling. I can't tell if I wasn't the asshole or I was, because he ain't my kid, he ain't my responsibility. Listen, the way you're writing the post makes you like an asshole. But like, you're not the asshole in the sense that like there was no reason for you to help the kid. Like when my kid falls over at the playground, I don't expect any other parent to like pick them up. Even like their parents. Similarly, when I'm at the park with my kid and I see a kid fall down, I don't pick up the other kid. I'm like, your parents are here. The only reason you're like kind of an asshole is because you keep, you're kind of like doubling down every single time someone's like, could you have a little empathy? You're like, no, I refuse. So it's weird because you're like, you're in the right to have not helped the kid. Which sounds like a bit of an asshole thing to say, but as long as their parents are there, like if a 6-year-old kid's riding a scooter and then they brick it right in front of you and they're bleeding or something, and then you look around and their parents aren't there, sorry, you just inherited like a bad situation. If you're in that kid's line of sight, you got to help him. Because otherwise, he's going to be like, this guy didn't help me. And then the good people are going to get their pitchforks and their torches and stuff like that. But until I had a kid, I basically did not. I was just annoyed by children in public, for sure. I don't think this guy did anything wrong, except he was kind of a dickhead with the way he interacted with the mom. Like before we had our kid, if there was, sometimes kids in public would just like talk to you. They'll be like, oh, and you're like, oh yeah? And then you just like walk away. Now I'm like, whoa, Pog! What? Really? And they're like, yeah. Oh, look at my dinosaur. And I'm like, wow! What kind of dinosaur is that? And then they go, a Bubbasaurus. And I go, a Bubbasaurus? But I don't expect like someone without a kid to act like that. Like that. If you act like that and you don't have a child, you're like clinically insane. Or you have like a sibling that has a kid, or you're good with kids or whatever. But it takes time to learn how to interact with a child. You can't just be like, oh, I was one, I know how to do it. I just don't know why this guy, like, I have to say, I have to stick to my principles. He didn't do anything wrong. It seems like the mom, I'm not projecting, but I guess inferring. I feel like the mom was in an emotional state because her kid got hurt. And she said some stuff that crossed the line. Like, hey, stranger, why didn't you touch my child when they fell over? Which is, like, batshit crazy. And then he was probably like, why is this lady getting on my case? I didn't buy her kid the scooter. So he's just out trying to look, he's fishing for, like, an own. But he's not in the wrong in any aspect here. Like, he is clearly very impressed with himself that he didn't help this kid and stuck to his guns despite someone asking why he couldn't have some empathy. But I don't think he's the asshole at all for not helping a kid when they fell over. If anything, he would be like more of an asshole if he didn't help an adult if they fell over. Like if you're sitting on a park bench and like somebody crumbles to the ground in front of you and they're like 35, I think you have an obligation as a member of like the human race to be like, are you okay? Do you need me to call a doctor? Like, are you having a heart attack? But if it's a kid, that's like, you know, there's a caretaker. There at least there should be a caretaker around. Although to be honest, if someone was walking by me and they fell over, I would have real concern. I would perform CPR, whether they wanted it or not. But if someone was on one of those like uniwheel electric scooters and they bricked it in front of me and slid like a meter on the sidewalk, I would probably just turn the other direction and be like, it finally happened. I knew. I see you, these motherfuckers, every day riding those weird uniwheels. They've always got full like motorcycle leathers on, but they got their hands in their pockets. I'm just waiting for the day when they're just going and they hit a rock and they're like, oh. Can't be riding something like that with your hands in your pockets, man. I tell you, I'm sure I have, but I tell you one time I was just sitting on our patio, just minding my own business, and then one of those bikes that had a trailer on the back that like a toddler can sit in. It's like a covered little tent with wheels on it. So you can bike, but your kid is in the back being towed along. And they were riding, and then they signaled, and then they turned left, but they turned left way too fast, or way too sharply. So the trailer on the back jackknifed, and then the tent like slid along the road into the bike lane with the kid in it. Everybody was like, "Oh my God!" And then the dad was like really freaked out, but he just got out and like put the trailer up on its side and then was like, "Are you okay?" And the kid was like, yeah, I'm okay. Did you laugh? Once I knew the kid was okay, absolutely. Like the moment of it was like very scary. As soon as the kid was like, "I'm fine," I was like, yeah, that shit's hilarious. The kid probably thought it was wicked. You're absolutely right. You're the asshole for laughing at an injured kid and grinning at this spectacle. Who does that? Lots of people. You can still be a good person and harbor a dark passenger within your brain. Calm down, edgelord, you're the asshole. But like, listen, he didn't do anything. Plus, you have a hexagonal avatar. He didn't do anything. You're the asshole. The bare minimum when you see anyone fall right in front of you is to ask, "Are you okay?" Listen, it's not the bare minimum. The bare minimum is to do nothing. But like, sure, he could have been nicer, but having niceness capacity above your actual behavior does not make you an asshole. This is why we can't have like an AI-driven court system. No, dude, if my kid bricked it in front of somebody and they said, "Do you want me to get your grown-up?" I would be like, "I'm right here." Going somewhere, Jarek? That being said, I would also be right there. Real voice reveal. Thought I was what, dead? Like my partner you just threw off the cliff? Yes, you're the asshole. Normal humans react when a child hurt themselves. Get up and ask the kid if he's okay. I don't know if this is something that is actually like... I think parenting has actually put me on the side of the childless here. In a weird way. Because I'm like, dude, my kid's 2. When a 6-year-old falls down in front of me, I'm like, get up and go to work. You're old. I'm just like... Obviously, that's insane. 6-year-olds are in like what? Like kindergarten? Maybe the first grade? But I'm hanging out with like a 2-year-old. I'm taking her to parks where she plays with like other 2-year-olds. They fall down. They don't know what to do, right? They fall down. They're like, what's going on? A kid was mean to me. You got to like, build the scaffolding of what the real world is like. When a 6-year-old falls over, I'm like, and? Like if you're hurt, sure. But like they at least have the I'm not saying they don't need to be supervised. I'm just saying like they have the faculties to be like, am I okay? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna get on my scooter and go away. I'm telling you, I think it's just because I have a 2-year-old. 6-year-olds look old. Like when I see a 6-year-old at the park, I'm like, oh shit, watch out. I don't want to get on that guy's bad side. Whoa, hold on. And I see other adults. I'm like, we're the same size. That's fine. I look at my kid, and then I look at like a kid that's in the 2nd grade. I'm like, oh, Jesus, Jumpin' Mary and Joseph, who brought the beefcake? This kid is like 8 feet tall. What the hell? This kid's wearing pants with a fly? What are you, like 100 years old? So much of my banter in the last 2 years is like, you guys wouldn't understand unless you like have a child. This one, I'm like, it's the first time I can extend an olive branch to the r/anti-natalist community. I don't think they did anything wrong. I think everyone else is being needlessly self-righteous. Also, like, kids fall down like all the time. Like, it's actually like the least big deal of all time. They take some like grievous injuries. We were walking with our kid one day. She was like, I don't want to hold your hand. We said, okay, be careful. Immediately tripped on an uneven sidewalk tile. Splat, got up, like blood in her mouth. She didn't crack a tooth or anything like that, but she bit her lip like on the way down. Blood like sputtering out of her mouth, all over her shirt, all over my shirt. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Pulled out some tissues, dabbed it. I was like, are you okay? She's like, no. We walked like half a block. I was like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, daddy, I want to walk. Like, kids are built different, man. I bit my lip. This is true, by the way. I bit my lip eating a piece of pizza too fast on Tuesday. And it's not only not getting better, the wound is still getting worse. It's not bad, but the wound hasn't even peaked yet, much less started to regress. Am I the asshole for making my wife walk to her 200 foot to her? Have you ever had a dream that you wanted you to do you so bad you could do anything? Am I the asshole for making my wife walk to her 200 foot to her parking spot? Look at these edits, man. We live in a townhouse with one garage parking spot. I park my EV in the garage so I can charge it overnight and keep it out of the elements. There are guest parking spots right next to the garage, but when those are unavailable, I request that my wife parks her car, a beat-up 2006 Prius, on the street, which is 200 feet from the garage, down an asphalt driveway. She leaves for work at 6 a.m. while I don't work until 8 a.m. Am I the asshole for not letting her park in the garage? Yes. I'm trying to figure out the kinematics of the situation. You have a townhouse that's separated from the street by a 200-foot driveway. Like, what's the driveway doing? You know what I mean? Like, why is the driveway there? It's just chilling? But I mean, like, what's it do? Wait, 200-foot long driveway. Look, it's not insanely long, but I would expect that means that there's like a palatial estate on the other end. Maybe there's like a huge fountain in the lawn or something like that. Edit 7 explains this. Oh, thank you. The driveway is shared amongst my neighbors and no one is allowed to park there. No, that doesn't explain it. I'm trying to picture in my house or in my head how this works. So I've put a townhouse. So there's like, I don't know, there's a complex. Maybe there's like 8 little townhouses closely in the same area. Then there's a 200-foot driveway that goes from the garage near the townhouses. 200 feet? A 70-meter long driveway? Okay, now you got me thinking about East Vancouver, okay? You're driving, you turn right, there's an alley that could be 200 feet long, if you lived on one end of it, I guess, and you parked on the other. And then there's garages that line the side of the alley that are in the vicinity of the townhouses. Okay, I can picture that at least. I'm solely financially responsible for both cars. This is how you know you've lost the argument, no disrespect. I know how that sounds, but as soon as you're like, my bad behavior might be justified by the fact that I paid for this, like that is how you don't have a leg to stand on, especially when that's edit number 1. Hey, Corpse Slime, thank you for the gifted subscriptions as well. Thank you. My wife has broken the side mirror and scraped the Prius backing out of the garage on 2 separate occasions. Okay. Number one, don't care. Number two, like, no offense, accidents happen. She's driving a car from 2006. I'm not going to say she's been driving it for like 16 years, but like at the same time, this is not unreasonable. Bay Area, so lows are still in the low 50s. Safe neighborhood with well-lit streets and sidewalks. She agreed to the parking arrangement before the car was ordered. I'm not trying to flex nor being a Tesla bro. I figured you all wanted more specificity. The driveway is shared amongst my neighbors and no one is allowed to park there. Yeah, you don't park on a driveway. A shared driveway, at least. You don't... I was like, haven't you heard the Jerry Seinfeld joke? What's next? We're going to drive on a parkway? I've driven the Prius for 11 years before passing it on to my wife, who drove an even crappier 90s car. She's sentimentally attached to the Prius and won't trade it in until it kicks the can. What the fuck is the problem with the... Nobody's mad she's driving a Prius. What's the problem? I don't understand the issue. Nobody's saying buy your wife a car that doesn't have to be parked. I mean, what do you... I refer to the Prius as beat up because it has dents, chipping paint on the roof and hood, and paint transfer from previous run-ins. I walk her out to her car when the distance is not within view of our bedroom. Her commute is 10 minutes inner streets versus my 40-minute highway commute. I don't understand, like, the problem. I believe this is a real post, though, just due to, like, the insane way that it's written. I actually... Listen... I don't think he's like that much of an asshole. It's just like a weird thing to go to the internet to try to fix or to try to get their verdict on. Like, I understand, listen, the EV has to be charged. With an 80-minute commute, surely it doesn't have to be charged every day, right? There's no way that it's not like a cell phone from 1993, every 3 days or something like that. It just can't be. No, it can't be right. It doesn't pass the smell test. So you're telling me if he had like a 90-minute commute, he would not be able to, he would have to swap batteries halfway through. It doesn't make sense. People are going on like road trips. I get they have to charge like through the road trip, but at the same time, like it just doesn't seem right to me. You don't want to run it down to zero? Yeah, but you don't have to keep it at like, 100. All these things have ranges of like, like 400 kilometers or something like that. That's too complicated for me. Either way, like it doesn't matter that much. I guess, here's the thing. I think he's kind of the asshole for the way that he phrased it, saying he's making his wife walk 200 feet. He's not really making his wife walk 200 feet. It's like the circumstances making the wife walk 200 feet. I think she should maybe like chill out about it. I just don't... His desire to breathlessly defend himself and be like, I'm not doing anything wrong is weird to me. Like, isn't this a situation where maybe like your wife is like, I wish I didn't have to walk so far to get to my car, and rather than present her with 11 bullet points of why it's not your fault, you just say, yeah, I know, it does suck. Sorry. Like, you just show like some sympathy instead. Like, it is what it is. I do think that like, why can't he drive the Prius some days and her drive what we have to assume here is a Tesla some days? And they could alternate. If you're 100% concerned about like fairness, then you could alternate. But it seems like the only way that he's concerned about fairness is because he wrote the contract up and she signed it before they bought the car. And nothing is more fair than tort law. Because she's attached to the car? Okay, it's fair then. Well, honestly, like, I hate to say it because I don't like this guy from his post, but like at the same time, sounds like she should just kind of suck it up then. If she's sentimentally attached to the Prius and then his Tesla needs to be charged every night in order to make it, which I don't buy for the record, but if we're assuming that that's real and it has to be charged every night in order to actually allow him to get to and from work the next day, then like, welcome to life. Sometimes you want to eat like, chicken fingers and fries for dinner every night, but you're like, I should have some green leafy vegetables so I don't die in my 40s. Like sometimes you got to, circumstances dictate you got to do some stuff that you don't necessarily want to do. Everybody sucks here. What in the American is this? First of all, it seems like your car is more important to you than your wife, which makes you the asshole, but I can't understand how anyone would bother to complain about walking 200 feet. The entire thing being such an issue you feel the need to post it on the internet is astounding to me. I agree. One of the finest legal minds I've ever known. You're the asshole for being an annoying Tesla bro. First thing I thought of too, instead of using my vehicle, he says, it's my Tesla Model Y. Did he edit that out of the post originally? I was on his side until maybe there was a stealth edit there. If I wasn't 100% sure from the post, your defensiveness in the comments and inability to take criticism makes me think you're the asshole. If you want to brag about owning a Tesla, try a car-related subreddit instead of inventing a story to post on Am I the Asshole? It's a Model Y. Is he bragging? That's the lesser priced of the two SUV SKUs. Yeah, if he had a Roadster from like 2011 or whatever, I would be like, that's rare. I'm driving past Tesla Model Ys like 15, 20 times a day just on the way to daycare. You live in Vancouver though? Yeah, I know. So what? I'm not saying it's a cheap car. I'm just saying, like, is he really out here trying to brag about owning the less expensive Tesla SUV? When he lives in the Bay Area, you pieces of crap. You princes of Maine, you kings of New England. He's the one who, don't give me this, you don't understand life, you live in Vancouver. This guy lives in the damn Bay Area. It's where this shit was like invented. You're the asshole. I assume since your wife goes to work at 6 a.m., she's the first one home as well. So you expect her to ignore the empty garage and park on the street so you can park your precious Tesla out of the elements? It would be one thing if you needed it to charge, but it shouldn't be an every night thing. You just expecting that you automatically get the garage because you drive a Tesla makes you the asshole. California, the elements, you're the asshole, get a rain cover. Oh, man. This is too far, though. You're the asshole, bragging about your car all the while talking crap about your wife's car. Start saving for the divorce now because you're going to need it. Listen, you don't know. She could be as fucked up as he is. They always read these one-sided posts and they go, I can't wait for your wife to divorce you. She married him in the first place, shithead. She might be crazy too. She might be worse for all we know. Why don't you just assume that the world's worst man married like an angel? She might be fucked up. You don't know that. If her concern is being attacked at 6 a.m., any good husband would get his ass out of the bed and walk her to her car. Is that what she's scared of? This is a tough one for me. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be thrilled about it, though. But I would also probably, I don't know, I feel like I would just be like, why don't you just take the other car today and I'll drive the Prius? Maybe this is like hater tech. I don't know. We were victims of crimes not just a week ago. Not but a week ago. Our barbecue cover got stolen right off our patio. We got that son of a bitch on the damn security camera. VPD is like, please stop calling us. We have more serious problems. But I'm like, 6 a.m. doesn't strike me as like prime getting jumped territory. 5 a.m., yeah, man, 100%. If you're still up at 5 a.m., that's like you're in the ESPN red zone. But 6 a.m., that's when the normies start to like reclaim the earth. Like, say from around like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. is when like, that's when I would be like, I need a OnStar or something like that. At 6 a.m., you're seeing people like walk out of their house in bathrobes and pick up the newspaper from their front step. So true. At 6 a.m., the normies assemble. Da, 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 da. 5:59. 6, we good? Listen, I don't claim to know how the mind of a violent criminal works. I just know what I observe. Or what I think that I observe in my imagination, at least. Were you scared when they stole your barbecue cover? Well, when I thought they were still on my patio, I wasn't scared. But I was just thinking about like what I'm going to say to them. Like I'm gonna pull back the Venetian blinds. I'm gonna be staring this crook dead in the face. What am I gonna say? I was trying to think of what line I was gonna say. Drop the cover. Hey! Hey! I'm not gonna threaten to call the cops. I think he would be like, go ahead. They're not gonna do shit about a barbecue cover. Like if he was trying to steal my barbecue, I would go outside. If he was just trying to steal the cover, I'd be like, I'll try to get him to drop it, but I'm not putting my sandals on just to go chase him down. That shit is like $60. Like I'm not risking my life for it. Like, hey! What are you doing? What are you doing? Put that down! I don't know what I would do, man. I would try to intimidate him, but I think that if he just kept walking away, I would be like, fair enough. I mean, like, if someone steals something that's like less than the price of a AAA video game, what are you going to do? You're not going to call the cops. Really think they're going to go on a citywide manhunt to get back your Coleman barbecue cover? Like, there's no consequences for his actions. The only choice I would have was like to make them feel bad about themselves. You're right. I got to be like, seriously, dude, look at yourself. It's 1 a.m. You're out here stealing my barbecue cover? Is this what you imagined? This is what you imagine life would be like? Listen, you can't be doing it. You gotta have some self-respect. Take the whole damn barbecue. At least take the propane tank or something like that. I'm sure you could. If you took the propane tank down the Canadian Tire and said, hey, I'm bringing a propane tank back, but I don't want another one right now, I think they'd give you $50. I think they'd give you $50 cash right there. What are you going to do with the barbecue cover, man? Just put it back. Anyway, I really got to go pee. See you in a minute. Speaking of having that dog in them, I'd like to congratulate the Vancouver Canucks for getting a win in the month of October. Congratulations. I knew you had it in you, except for like the last 3 weeks when I lost all faith that I had in the team completely. Hey man, if you can beat the Seattle Kraken 5-4, you can do anything, okay? The sky's the limit. You ratioed them in your comment. Well, like, so let me, put yourself in my shoes, okay? You don't know that they're going to win the game 5-4. You got the Canucks game on while you're, like, you know, eating dinner with your family. It's 1-0 for the Canucks. The team looks half decent, okay? 4 minutes left in the period. Your wife says, okay, it's bath night for the baby, not for me. I shower in the morning. So you help bring the baby upstairs, clean her up because she's got a dirty diaper. You help run the bath and stuff like that. You get the bath toys ready to go. She finally gets in the bath. Like 15 minutes later, you check your phone. First thing you see is at Canucks. After 20 minutes, Canucks 1, Kraken 2. Really? You let in 2 goals in 4 minutes? So that's why I made the post that was like the Doctor Strange picture. Nightmare confirmed. I was like, we can't do anything, man. We can't even hold a lead against the Kraken. No offense. Like, you're better than we are, but you're still like a little ass. We are pretty ass. It's funny. Like, the Canucks are so bad right now. Maybe they'll get to mediocrity this year instead of like outright abysmalness. But of course, we had to beat the Kraken. We've never lost against the Kraken in like the regular season. As ass as we are, like it's the only thing we can do. We can reliably beat Seattle. Joe, it's beneath you. Don't join the people typing test, okay? But you got to be careful typing test. Remember we had that like chat social score robot came in here like every 5 seconds. It was like Northern Lions chat social score is 735. Northern Lions chat social score is 312 or something. And like after like 5 of them, we just banned it. And then we got an unban request that was like, hey, sweat emoji. Sorry, guys. I was just testing my bot in your chat and I had the parameters set a little wrong. So if you could unban me, that would be really nice. I said, frick that. Test it in somebody else's chat. I'm not running like a bot test service here. You're disrupting chat with your bot. Go test it. Why can't you test it in the chat of the bot that you made? I made a bot for that. I just didn't make it type. Sanest person doing freecodecamp.com right now. Yeah, it doesn't have to type in chat. Why don't you just have it like pop up some numbers in your damn terminal to see if it's working? To get it to type in chat is like literally 1 line. Why are you being so disruptive? Like, dude, Reddit is bad for like a number of different reasons, okay? But like one of the reasons is because every Python coding course, they're like, okay, it's time for the final assignment in Intro to Programming. We're gonna make a Reddit bot. So think of something really cool that's not at all annoying, and then just let it run wild. Hey, you got an A+, you made the world's most annoying bot. It tells people when they spelled something wrong. A+, thanks for ruining the website. Thanks for contributing to making this website the most inhospitable place on the internet. I really appreciate it. Those people should be in federal prison. Too far. Those people should not have done that. Haiku bot, though? Dude, like... Hey, just thought you should know. Every letter in your post is in alphabetical order. Isn't that cool? Not really. Not really. It's not cool at all, honestly. It's like maybe mildly interesting the first time that it happened, and then very annoying in every subsequent opportunity. It's so irritating. You sound like an angry boomer. You sound like you have Talk Like a Pirate Day circled on your calendar. That felt great. I felt like a little tingle on the back of my head. And it's honestly, it wasn't like when I said it. It was like 3 seconds after I said it. It was like a delayed reward from God himself. Or herself. So that, and again, I think that means there's something wrong with me. But that, and it still kind of feels great. I did, so my baby yesterday in the car, I said, what do you want to listen to? Thinking she'd say Under the Sea, right? Daryl, I presented 7 other songs. Finally, I said, what do you want to listen to? You know what she said? She looked at me and she said, Dede song. So I don't know what that means, but I searched my musical lexicon and I said, okay, let's hit her with this. I hit her with Blue Dabba Dee by Eiffel 65. That was the closest thing I could get to in my head to Dede song, right? Actually, no, sorry. I started with the hamster dance, which is the most Dede song of all time, because it goes then on shuffle, Blue came on, and then she was like, I don't like this song. So I changed it. And then Lollipop, open parentheses, Candyman, close parentheses, by Aqua came on. And it reminded me, like, one of my favorite tweets of all time was like, you remember how dance music in the 90s was just like one hottie singing her lungs out, and then some dude who sounded like a robot speaking non sequiturs in a bassy voice? That song is like exactly that. Oh my love, you know you are the candy man, and oh my love, your wish is my command. Oh my love, you know you are the candy man, and coming from Bounty Land. Then she goes, whoa, and then just some fucking schmo comes on and goes, I am the candy man. Oh, coming from Bounty Land. Oh, I am the candy man. Oh, coming from Bounty Land. Like that, we need to go back to that, man. That was unhinged. Can you believe that shit was on the radio? My, like, you know, my mom was probably like in her early 30s when that song came out. She's bobbing her head. I'm in 4th grade. I'm bobbing my head. No one was like, excuse me, we got a new caller. Okay, caller, go ahead, you're on the air. Hey, yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. What the fuck was that insane song you just played and have played once an hour for the last 3 weeks? What the hell is going on? Why is nobody asking what you just played? This insane song where some robot goes, coming from Bounty Land. Who calls the radio? It was the 90s. Everybody called the radio. I remember I'm old enough to have made a phone call to the radio request line. So here's the thing, all right? My favorite song at the time, Pretty Fly for a White Guy. I'm calling. I'm busy. 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 I get through. I got the radio on right next to me, right? They say, what song do you want to hear? I swear to God, as soon as they said, what song do you want to hear? They had started playing Pretty Fly for a White Guy on the radio. What am I going to do? I'm not going to be the bozo that's like, play the song. I'm requesting the song you're currently playing right now. So I went, can you, I just wanted to call in and see if you could play Miami by Will Smith. And then they go, sure, no problem. And then like 2 songs later, they played Miami by Will Smith. And the next day at school, I was like, hey, were you listening to 102.7 The Border at 6:15 last night? You know when they played Miami? That was my Miami. I did that. The one at 5:15, that was probably just preordained. That might have been payola or something like that. But the one at 6:15, that was me, man. I did that. That's like Twitch chat when the people suggest the game you're just gonna play anyway. It's true. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's fair enough. People are like, you should play SAP. I'm like, oh, I'm glad you asked. Just for you, I'm gonna play SAP. No! I called into the radio. I called into the radio once at my last office job too. Because my boss, it was like a Friday. We're not getting that much done, to be honest. The radio was on in the office all the time. They were holding a contest to win an extra large pizza. Can you imagine? Take a guess as to what you had to do to win a large pizza. First, you got to be the 7th caller, and then you've got to answer 10 questions wrong. Holy cow, that's hard. So I remember I got through. This was on company time, by the way. I got through, and they were like, all right, question 1. Name something you don't bring to the beach. And I was like, rain boots. I don't remember the rest of the questions, but I remember it being like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And then, after I won, I said, so should I bring in, like, should I go pick up the pizza one day and just bring it in for the office? And she was like, no, don't worry about it, just take it. And I was like, whoa, sick. So I just, you know, one night for my parents, I was like, pizza's on me, baby. You said it wrong if you only had to give wrong answers? What are you talking about? You're bringing your rain boots to the beach? Feet are gonna be all sweaty, man. If it's raining, call me crazy. If it's raining, I don't go to the beach. You said things you don't bring? Okay, it's like a 14-year-old anecdote, okay? You might have to do your own linting on the bit in order to make it make sense. I promise you at the time, it made sense. Why are you trying to give me... Yeah, you're like punching up my script here. Bozo. Don't lint the bit. Don't lint the bit. Don't yuck my yum, okay? Some of us love war crimes, okay? Shh. Let people enjoy things. Oh, my love. You know you have the credit card and oh, my love. I'm going to swipe it hard. Oh, my love. I am your credit card. I'm going to swipe it hard. It's kind of crazy how that music hasn't come back. Like, every genre is supposed to, like, loop around every, like, 30 years. We should be due for, like, some absurd 90s club EDM. Eurodance, yeah. Just some shit that, like, if I'd watched a movie in, like, 1995, I would see, like, dudes in mesh shirts dancing to this song, and I would be like, fuck, I can't wait to be an adult. That shit looks so cool. That shit looks incredible. I can't wait till I can go to grown-up places and do serious stuff. Saturday night, getting off my job as an investment banker, going out to the hottest club in Manhattan, putting on my shiniest shirt, be my baby, I'll make you mine, you know I'll take you to the top, I'll drive you crazy. I'm wearing a suit that looks like the shoulders on the suit go out like all the way to here, and then it doesn't taper at all, it just goes straight down. Using Chandler Bing's personal stylist, the David Byrne, exactly. Wearing like a blue dress shirt with a white collar. I'm not gonna lie, blue dress shirt, white collar is kind of a look. I think they should make you like provide your LinkedIn profile before you buy one of those shirts though. You should only be able to buy that shirt if you're like a C-level executive at a real company. It should be a privilege. They can't just let any bozo walk in off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, know what I mean? Earn your keep. Regulators. BatChest, he referenced old school hip hop. BatChest, Warren G featuring Nate Dogg. You would never be able to get one then? I know, I'm not qualified to wear a blue shirt with a white collar, to be honest with you. Have you ever bought anything off of Shark Tank? Not that I know of. I ever tell you about how Dragon's Den and Shark Tank are how I got disabused of the juvenile notion that inventing things is a real job? Do you own a scrub, daddy? I don't, but I have seen them in the store. That might be a real product. As far as I know, the biggest success story from Dragon's Den Canada is a cereal, a porridge-like cereal called Holy Crap, that my wife ate for like a couple years. And I tolerated it because it was like, it reminded me of Everybody Loves Raymond. Shark Tank and Dragon's Den are how I became disabused of my juvenile notion that inventor is a real job. Listen, if you work for like 3M in the R&D department, this is not about you. This is about like anytime you're watching Shark Tank and some guy comes up and goes, "Hello, sharks, I'm an inventor from Bloomington, Indiana." You're like, oh, here we go. Let me guess. Some shit we don't need. Ever been annoyed by how hard it is to take your shoes off when you come home? He's got like some, like, his cousin is like, "I just can't get my shoes off." Well, here's some shit you can, like, it's like a bottle opener you can screw into your wall, and then you just shove the heel of your boot into the bottle opener and push down, and voila! We call it the boot be off. I'm like, the world is so full of this fucking shit. I don't need it anymore, man. Look, if it has a case for for accessibility issues, that's fine. I'm not trying to say the product shouldn't exist. I'm just like, very few people are going on Shark Tank and being like, here's like, you know, here's a product that's gonna change the world. Everyone on Shark Tank is doing some shit that's like, it's like Chipotle for your makeup. So what you do is you go to the website and you say, I've got sensitive skin that has 2% oiliness, and then our patent pending algorithm composites a unique formula of moisturizer to send to your house. And you're like, oh my fucking God. This shit is called like cosmetic with a K or something like that. I guess it's true. Like if you have a great idea, you don't really need to go to Shark Tank. You just kind of like, you go to like the bank, I guess, or like a, you know, private equity or something like that. I think Shark Tank is like a Shark Tank, sorry, what am I talking about? Shark Attack is like, hey, I can get some free promotion for like my shit that's in CVS right now. And, you know, maybe I can do a deal, but probably not. Now, the money room, that's where you go to get deals done. Here's a good Shark Tank bit. The ball sack jacuzzi. What the hell are you talking about? What are you doing? What is a ball sack jacuzzi? I got a lot of follow-up questions, but I want to make sure we're starting on the same level first. We're starting from the base position. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a hot tub for your balls. Is it like a special piece of furniture that like you dip your balls into? It's not like you, or do you just wear it like under your underwear and go out in public or something like that? It's the size of a dog dish. Okay, so you don't wear it under your jeans then. What's the point, though? Can't you just dip your balls in like a normal jacuzzi? It doesn't seem any more convenient to have a special jacuzzi just for your balls. It seems like it's all the costs and none of the benefits. That's my cost-benefit analysis. It has all the costs and none of the benefits. Can't you just put your balls in like in a bowl of warm water with a straw? I don't think this idea, for that reason, I gotta tell you, I'm out. When Whirlpool gets its hands on this idea, they're gonna laser beam you from a satellite in orbit. You are not ready for the world of hurt that's gonna fall on you, my man, and for that reason, I'm out. But then on Shark Tank, there's always like, they can present the dumbest fucking idea. There's always like one person who's like, you know, you seem like a nice guy. I'd like to work with you. So here's what I'm proposing. You came in asking for $1 million for 2% of your company. I'm willing to offer you $2 for 100% of your company. And I'll make a phone call to Walmart. I'll make a phone call to Spencer's Gifts. We can have the bald sack jacuzzi on shelves within 3 months. I don't like when the sharks collude with each other either. Like when they go in on a deal with one another, that's one thing. That's business. But I don't like when like 4 sharks are out. I don't know, are there 4 or 5? I don't like when all the sharks are out but one, and then one of them offers something, and then the other ones are like, take the deal, Jim. Jim, that's the best deal. Jim, that's the best. You shut up, you're out. Robert Herjavec, you're out, you shut it, okay? The adults are talking. You freaking loser. Shut it, Mr. Wonderful. If I wanted advice on how to fraudulently sell a software company to Mattel, I would take it from you, okay? If I wanted advice for how to start an investment management company in like 2013 in the middle of the greatest bull run in the modern era and somehow do so poorly that it had to close down in like 2018, then I would take it from you, okay? What about the shark that called quiet quitters losers? That's just Kevin O'Leary's thing. He says mean things, and then like 25% of North America is like, it's mean, so it must be true. He's wearing a suit and saying mean things. He must be telling it like it is. It bypass for 75% of the population goes, this guy's an asshole. 25% of the population that believes pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is like a real thing that anybody can just do, goes, finally, someone telling it like it is. Someone not scared of criticism. I was thinking the other, and when I thought of this, I was like, this bit is not going to go over as well in real life as it goes over in my head. But I was thinking, after like an entire lifetime of like historical presidencies, you know, Clinton gets impeached, George W. Bush, like, you know, was a character. Barack Obama was historic, like for a number of different reasons. And then Donald Trump following it up. it's kind of nice. I mean, I don't live in America, but it's kind of nice to have a president who's like just kind of like a guy. At least as of right now, he just seems like he's kind of like a goofball. You know, he has some gaffes now and then and stuff like that, but he's mostly just sort of like, I'm not speaking about anything to do with his policies or actions in office, but just I feel like in history, when we look back on this era, there's going to be like, you know, 4 really crazy administrations in a row, and then it'll be like, and then it was like, we just said, let's just relax for like let's just take 4 years off. Plus, he's really good at guilty gear, right? I mean, what's crazy about Obama? He thinks he deserves Dijon mustard. And don't even get me started on the tan suit, okay? He also did some drone strikes. Listen, we try to keep it lighthearted here, okay? And the waters. No, we try to keep it lighthearted here, okay? Ghibli! Perfect timing! Me when I'm losing the crowd. Ghibli! Ghibli's here, everybody! Ghibli's here! Dude, it would have been sick if Jerry Seinfeld had an edgy phase where he wore a leather jacket, smoked cigarettes, and had like a curly ponytail. What's the deal with these bozos in Washington? I mean, come on! Do you know what's fucking bullshit? George, little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, eating her curds away. Along came a spider and sat down beside her and gave her a bone of his own. Hey! Got it? I'm sad now? Why? That we didn't get, the world was deprived of when Jerry went blue? Ah, yes. When Dylan went electric. The second most important famous person goes blank moment from the 90s. Wait a minute, that's not from the... Just... We're moving on. We're moving on. We're moving on. Did not land. Didn't make any sense. Quick reference earlier in the stream. It's like $1 an hour. I love scotch. Scotchy scotch scotch. Here it goes down. Down into my tummy. Did we just become best friends? There's so much room for activities. Napoleon, don't be jealous that I've been online chatting to hot babes all day. Make yourself a dang quesadilla. Tina, come eat dinner, you fat lard. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody. I'm not a good ugologist. But why male models? The files are in the computer. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? You're not, you puffin' the magic dragon, Fokker? You're not in my circle of trust. Yeah, baby, yeah! It's not Al anymore, it's Dunk. A lot of people in the chat saying -2. And I can only assume that there's no +2s because everybody that is 30 to 35 years old is too busy raffling their copter right now, laughing their MF'n AO. He's quoting references from movies that I liked when I was 17. You're my boy Blue. Stop alienating the Zoomers. Bro, I can't help it. Like, I honestly, and I believe it or not, I've been the younger generation myself, even though it was a while ago now. The thing is, people mostly don't actively seek to alienate the younger generation. It's the younger generation that seeks to willfully become alienated. I'll say like some completely normal shit, like I had vegetables on my plate with dinner last night. People will be like, okay, boomer, you don't know what it's like to be 21. I know exactly what it's like to be 21. You make a mountain out of a molehill. Any olives on a pizza is okay with me. But pizza, you know, I've said it many times here. I think if you're doing like a group interview for a job, obviously some of the interview should be focused on like the technicals, but that you should do like a stealth, like undercover boss style thing in the interview where like half of the interview is you go, okay guys, here's like, you know, you got 8 people there. You drop a $50 bill on the table and say, okay guys, the rest of the interview will happen after lunch. Why don't you guys just order a couple of pizzas for yourselves? We'll be back in an hour. And then you just sit back and observe. Because you know that there's going to be some people in there that are like, you're going to learn a lot about them. They're going to be unwilling to compromise on anything. They're going to be like, I will not eat a pizza unless it has jalapenos on it. And you got to be like, that's just not reasonable in a group environment. I like jalapenos too, but that's not a reasonable request when you're getting pizzas for other people. I think it would be genius, man. It's not a bit. I'm being serious. I'm being very serious. And then you should put it on YouTube. Like, I think it's different when you go to like like a fancy restaurant, or like a good example, sometimes I'll get a growler fill, right? I don't want to brag. From a world-class city, many people have called it one of the most livable cities in North America. We got a microbrew culture here, right? So sometimes I'll go to a brewery and I'll get some growler fills, and they'll be like, any questions? And I'll be like, well, what do you recommend? And they're like, what do you like? And I'm like, well, I'm a psycho. Like, I like IPAs, like as hoppy as they can go. And they go, here's a sample of this. And then I take a sip of it and I go, oh, it's delicious. Yeah, give me a liter of that. It's called Stella Artois. It's a little bit pricier. It's an import. But listen, if you're used to drinking Grolsch, why don't you elevate yourself a little bit? The label has paper on it, Dad. The label has paper on it. It's classy. Hey, watch it. I think the only people who get offended when you talk smack about Stella Artois are like, don't make me be like too snobby. But like it's, they're like, keep Stella Artois out of your mouth. And I'm like, what, are you from Belgium?
I bought a parking and I got a parking ticket.
How did that happen?
You telling me? I don't know.
Was the parking expired?
No, I bought it until like 6 a.m.
You got to dispute the ticket.
I know, but there is no dispute. They said if you need help, call this line.
Well, it looks like we're never parking in another Easy Park lot.
That's the local pill to you.
Be me, pay for parking, still get a parking ticket, cereal. But like when you insult Stella Artois, it's never Europeans who are like, that's local tradition. It's always people from North America that are like, hey, that's the beer that I order when I want to feel a little fancy. No disrespect, okay? No disrespect. Like no one thinks that. Bro, there's a lot of people who think that. I don't know if I don't know if the ads are the same worldwide, okay? But legitimately, the ads for Stella Artois in North America is always like two incredibly well-dressed, like designer, luxury brand wearing models. They're on vacation. They're on vacation. He's wearing a suit. She's wearing a dress. Whatever. It's a Tuesday. They go, what about this place? They walk into a little hole-in-the-wall bar. The man sits down and crosses his legs, looks at his Rolex and goes, I'll have a Stella Artois. And then a bartender in like a white starched button-up shirt with the sleeves 3/4 rolled up, end buttoned, goes like, very good, sir. And he fills it decadently from the glass. It's got a gold rim. And then he puts it on the table and just a little bit of foam comes down. And then I shit you not, he takes a fucking knife and goes, shaves like the extra bit of head over the top, and then serves it to our dapper gentleman. That's how it's marketed in North America. It kind of blew my mind. I never thought it was good, but it kind of blew my mind when that was validated and people from Belgium were like, yeah, actually, like, it's not, we don't like it here. Coors Light exists. I mean, Coors Light is also, two beers can both be bad. At least I actually, if you'll forgive me this, and you may not, I have some respect for Coors Light drinkers because at least they're not putting on airs. At least when they drink Coors Light, they're like, I'm going to have like 10 of these, and I want to make sure I can still wake up for work in the morning. You know, in a way, the import Stella drink is almost like worse for me, even if the beer is a little bit better, because of the fact that when you drink it, you're like, check it out, it's Stella. Yeah, I pay an extra $2 a pint. I'm a man of quality. But I don't know, that's what blew my mind when I was in England, too. I thought England had like a strong, and trust me, I'll get to the resolution on this. I thought England had a strong beer culture. And then every restaurant we went to, I was like, oh, what do you have on draft? And they're like, oh, we only have Peroni and Strongbow. So I was like having the occasional Peroni. And then when I came back, you know, this was like 6 years ago, I was like, hey, England, why do you drink so much Peroni in England? And they're like, oh, that's because you went out for beer. You have to go out for ale. And that's honestly where my vendetta with England kind of started. And like I keep asking, what beers do you guys have? And the server looks at me like I'm 17 years old and goes, Peroni, Carling, and we have some ciders. And I'm like, I guess I'll take a Peroni. That's what, if I had said, excuse me, Garçon, what's your ale list? They would have come out with like an old tome etched in stone with like moss growing on it. Oh, our ale list, of course. Our ale list was originally founded by Trappist monks in the 14th century. Oh, my mistake, sorry. I forgot. Despite, like, inventing the language, you don't use it the same way that the rest of the world uses it. Drives me freaking crazy, man. Where'd you go in England? London and, Old Windsor. I was in Old Windsor for a media event, and then I moved to London for a bit of a vacation. It was in 2015. A simpler time. So London and London. Yeah, but like honestly, like England, just relax. I remember being in England. I was like, I wasn't that impressed by like the food. People go like, oh, where'd you stay? And I'm like, oh, London, the capital. They're like, well, there's your problem. You've got to go to the local chippy on the banks of the fucking... You got to go to Blackpool, and there's an old man with a hat made out of newspaper that serves the best fish and chips I've ever seen in my... I'm like, that's not realistic. Can't you just tell that guy to move to London? Whenever I had a single complaint about England, people were like, oh, that's just because you were in its biggest city. If you really want to enjoy yourself, you should take a 10-hour flight to Heathrow, rent a car, drive on the wrong side of the road for 6 hours, and come to a town you've never heard of in northern England that's famous for a variety of cheese that's cheddar but a little bit softer. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. They got to make more of an effort, okay? You gotta put some good stuff in London. I forgot, I said 6-hour drive. I forgot not everyone's, I mean, we're talking about England. I forgot that not everyone lives in a continent where a 6-hour drive is like, you know, people are like, yeah, that's my normal commute. Don't care, didn't ask. Plus you've had 3 prime ministers this year. Plus you freaking, I don't know, something about, Ed Sheeran's not even, Ed Sheeran's not as good as his level of popularity would lead you to believe. Oh, crap. Dude, YouTube, you can't see? Nobody's agreeing with me. They're so mad, they're malding right now. They're like, no, please, we love Ed Sheeran. Listen to yourself. Have some self-respect. They're crying, and I'm laughing. I mean, to be fair, if someone, okay, I guess I'll just fucking die. All right, see you. What? I don't really know what the hell I'm supposed to do about that. It's easily the most unfair thing that's ever happened to me in this game, but that in and of itself makes it humorous. What the hell was that, man? People be like, take the alt path. The normal path's too easy. Well, we're going... A lot of people went all in on yes. I'm sorry to hear that. You should have went all in on ales. That's your problem. Oh, you wanted beer. Listen, if you want good beer in England, you gotta say ale. Beer is what we call bad beer. Ale is what we call good beer. Ruffle my hair a little bit. So cute that you didn't know that. Just listen. Is there any merit to the theory that the RNG is tied to like your system clock? Or was that like made up copium? Because it really does seem like when you get like one ass run, you seem to get a high quantity of ass runs that are very similar to the ass run that you just had. And I know what you're going to say because you have taken a stats course. You've audited a stats course on YouTube but not done any actual like evaluation for it. When you lose one, you just tilt and then you play worse. It leads to worse habits, which leads to worse runs, which makes you think that your losses are clumped. Yeah, that could explain it if you would give me like any proof of it. When what you could actually do is just tell me, is it possible that it's clumped based on your system clock? Because if so, then that could explain it too. Not everything has to be explained by some form of bias. Sometimes it'd be like, hey, that meal was the best meal I've ever eaten. Recency bias? Go ahead, do an MRI right now. Look at how my brain lit up. It could be recency bias, or it could also be the finest meal I've ever eaten. Logical fallacies be like astrology for STEM students. Holy cow. People be like, you can't use a personal attack in a debate. Why? Who came up with that rule? Fucking Socrates? He's a bozo. He's almost as stupid as you are. Looks like oh, you're crying? Looks like I win the debate now. I would say rhetoric needs to enter its attitude era. They've been fighting clean for too long. Who's the Stone Cold Steve Austin of debates? That's true. It's definitely Donald Trump. Yes, yes. You're 100% right. Yeah, okay, I'd like to go back on that. The metaphor completely tracks. Have you ever seen the Wikipedia article that is list of nicknames Donald Trump has had for his political opponents? The scroll bar on the side of the browser is like this big, and you're scrolling down. Every single man has a sad little, puny little, sad Joe, sleepy Joe, asleep Joe, can't hold it together Joe, sad little Joe, Joseph, Joby. Every single one it's hilarious. I'm sorry to tell you, every single one made me laugh. Not for the same reason, but every single one got me. Unfortunately, politics is not a stand-up comedy. But if it was, I mean, that's a 538-0 victory for sure. We would make America laugh again. Mini Mike Bloomberg, sad little Elon, low energy. There's absolutely no doubt. He's an all-time poster. I'm not saying, by the way, that under any circumstance you have to hand it to him. But he is one of the most important posters of our time, without a doubt. Tim Apple's a good one. Kofefi. I do think it's kind of crazy that you're absolutely right. How did Gen Z let someone born in the 1940s become the most important shitposter of the 21st century? You grew up with shitposting. I'm not gonna take any responsibility. I grew up before, like, I didn't get my first computer until it was like I was already 8 years old or something like that. The internet didn't really exist. I was paying by the minute for the internet until like 2005. If you were born in 2000, what? That's a home game, man. I was typing in "there is no secret cow" level into BattleNet, but there is. But there is a secret cow level, Jan. You don't know the toll that carrying 3 TP scrolls around has on a man. Snip, snap, snip, snap. I don't know, like, I feel like those bots are so funny. The scam you always see is like, hey, why don't you let me, like, hold a Bitcoin? If you send me 0.1 Bitcoin, I'll send you a whole one back. This is why we need, like, financial literacy classes. I feel like if we did a better job of teaching our citizens that that's the stupidest thing of all time, then, like, why they wouldn't fall for it, because they would be inoculated against it just due to common sense. Like, if I had a guaranteed trick to 10x my money, you'd never see me again. I'd be gone, man. Instead, I'm out here, like, turning sandwiches into Isaac episodes, like, 30 minutes at a time, like a schmuck. My dad keeps falling for scams. He keeps getting his accounts hacked. It sucks. Honestly, like, this is, like, the tragic part of old age, for sure. Who's to say, like, right now, you know, you'll get a voicemail that's like, this is the Canadian government. You haven't paid your taxes in 50 years. Please call us right now or you're going to prison. There's an officer on his way. When you're, like, you know, in touch with the world, you say, and you delete the voicemail because that's insane. But if you're, like, 80 and, like, technology is, like, confusing to you and, you know, you don't fully understand how it works and stuff like that, then I think it's easier to be like, I mean, I don't want to go to prison, and then just, like, fall for it. Who's to say it won't happen to us someday? I got a text the other day. Is this real? I got a text the other day that said I'm wanted for murder and they're going to shoot me on sight. Holy cow. They texted you that? I think you're in trouble, brother, because they got your phone number. They should be able to get your phone records or something, and they're gonna find you. We had that happen once, except it was actually the CRA. Like, why did they make their phone call sound so scammy? Well, the trick is, like, that the CRA is like the monster from It Follows, right? It's slow moving, but don't underestimate it. All official communication, I believe, comes in the form of actual, like, hard copy correspondence mailed to your house, or distributed through, like, the CRA portal on their website. Which reminds me, we went to my father-in-law's house to drop off some stuff this weekend, hanging out in his living room. I know what you're gonna ask. Was he watching golf? Yes, he was. But I was looking at his coffee table, and he had a letter on his coffee table unopened from the Canada Revenue Agency. And I was like, man, What's it like to have that level of like mental freedom? I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. Like 99 times out of 100, it's like, here's the installments that you've paid this year. Thank you, citizen. Have a great day. Like 1% of the time, it's like, contact us immediately or you're gonna go to prison. You gotta open that, man. You gotta open that letter. I don't even walk in the front door first. I open that in like the shared lobby. I can't let that weigh on my mind for any longer than is necessary. Kate was like, well, he's retired, so like actually he doesn't really like have to pay tax. Every time he gets a letter from the government, it's just like a check. And I was like, you know what? She's absolutely right. As if you know that there's like a couple $100 inside the envelope, you're like, I don't need to open that right away. Let's just leave it there. I did. So my daughter, she always says like, show me photos of me, like of herself on my phone. I was doing it the other day. Kate was in the room and a photo came up. She must have been like a month old. And I have her like, she sat on my knee, and I have like a burpee cloth for when they throw up. She sat on my knee, and I'm like patting her back, and I'm looking straight at the camera. And I had to zoom in on the photo. I showed it to Kate. It's like, it's a real like microcosm, or it's symbolic of what like the first few months of a newborn's life are like as a parent. My eyes are dead and like half closed, and I have dark circles and like lines under my eyes, and I have like the worst maintained beard I've ever had in my entire life, and I'm like fat and bloated. I haven't shaved my head in like 2 weeks, so I got like the Elliot Spitzer haircut going on, except with nothing on the top to even comb over. It was like, man. And what's crazy is if you had asked me that day, how do you feel? I probably would have been like, not too bad. Then I look back and I'm like, holy fuck. We were going through the damn ringer, man. I'm like, that's like a before and after shot. People would be like, oh, is this before photo from like when you were in your 40s and this after photo is like when you were in your 30s? I'd be like, no, dude. I was like 31 in that one. I'm 33 now. You notice your baby developing object permanence? Bro, she's 2 years old. She's way past the object permanence. Oh. She's making like full sentences. She's using conjunctions. Can I tell you, yesterday I said, what did you do? Or maybe Kate said, I don't want to take credit. But either way, I was there. We said, what did you do at daycare today? And she said, we went to the library. From an adult, not that crazy of a sentence. From a little like baby, you're like, went? How'd you learn went? That doesn't even make logical sense. You go from goes to went, but somehow you got there. It's crazy. She did not say we goed to the library. She said we went. It's absurd. But she does say, I mean, listen, don't make fun of my daughter's English, okay? It's coming along real quick. But sometimes I'll be like, she'll say like, Daddy, I want cookie. And I'm like, well, you can't have a cookie because you just had a chocolate egg. Obviously, that's ridiculous. What do you think I'm not trying to, like, you know, ruin your life before you even have, like, formed memories or anything like that. And then I'll say something like, do you want a banana? And then she goes, no, me am not want banana. And I'm like, oh, okay, listen, you're in an emotional state right now. I'm not going to correct your grammar right now. Listen, are you in an emotionally stable enough place to hear distressing news? Because I'm not giving you a cookie. I'm not going to be that dad. Listen, here's 4 glasses of chocolate milk. I'm not giving you a cookie, though. It was like when we were on the cruise, she went through a phase where she only wanted Kate to do stuff for her, which is really hard because mostly she wanted to be picked up. So she wanted to be picked up like 10 hours a day. And I'm like, Daddy can help. She's like, no! On the cruise. I tried to help out once, and she said, no. Me not want daddy. Me not like any daddy. And I was like simultaneously like more crushed than I've ever been in my entire life. But I was also very impressed with her ability to construct like a completely original diss. I was like, we can repair the relationship. I'm just glad that, like, that kind of... I mean, now I have an excuse for my own insults at chat. It must be genetic in some way. I can't help myself sometimes. If someone annoys me, my brain doesn't go like, hey, you, middle finger. Like, my brain goes like, what sentence could I construct that would break them down to their base elements? make them reconsider everything they've done in their entire life. And it's not a... It's like a good thing when you're 12, and then a bad thing forever after that. It's an impulse I always have to fight against. Now I realize there's no point in fighting against it. It's baked into my DNA, apparently. Did your parents ever diss people? No, but my mom's dad, the grandpa on my mom's side, he dissed like crazy. He would get in fights with like door-to-door salesmen that would come to the door. This is not a joke. He got into a fist fight with somebody that came to his door in like the 80s to sell something or, you know, convert him to a religion or something. He stabbed him in the neck with a ballpoint pen. It was the 70s in rural Ontario. So they, I don't know if there's like a police report. I don't think he did any time, but this is a very common story around the dinner table when I was growing up. But I must also say, he was the Baba Yaga. He was very funny. As much as like obviously like that's not a good thing to do. I'm sure I've told this before, but this is my favorite example of being like quick-witted to a fault. My grandparents had a skylight in their bathroom for whatever reason, because it's classy. So you could look up at absolutely nothing while you're taking a big dookie dump. And my grandma would get paranoid, and she would say, like, we gotta take out that skylight. I'm worried someone is spying on me when I'm taking a shower. And then he said, are you crazy, woman? Nobody wants to see you naked. And then she replied, I think I know somebody who wouldn't mind. And then he said, then that guy must be as crazy as I am. Which is just like from tip to tail, an absolutely perfect joke. Completely improv off the cuff. But something that it shouldn't have gotten to the point where you were able to say it in the first place, but definitely should not have said it. I think it's like an overgrown verbal linguistic center of the brain combined with like being very quick to anger. So it's like, you know, some people, if they have like an anger issue, they get mad and they're like, I'm gonna like hit you. But like my family's like, I'm gonna get mad. Well, at least I'm not as mad as your grandma was when she was sucking your grandpa's dick or something. Like, just insane, hateful shit. Like, anyway, moving on.
I gotta set up my stream.
Okay. Look at this. We got a Bugs Bunny basketball toy. He's dribbling the ball between his ears.
You sounded so, like, amazing.
Hi, honey. Did you have fun today? Yeah. Did everybody say, oh, look at this cute baby? You and mommy went? Where did you go? Yo, it's T? Yeah. T. You went to see mommy's friend? Yeah. Was that fun? Yeah. What mommy's friend is it? Whoa, Cadence of Hyrule plush. Cadence from Cadence of Hyrule plush. Cadence from Crypto the Necrodancer. Pog. Yo, she was speaking so well. She said, Mommy and me saw mommy's friend.
Yeah. And what was his name? His name is same as Daddy's name. What's Daddy's
his name is my name too.
What's Daddy's name?
What's your name, Daddy?
You know my name.
What's your name?
You know my name. You know my name. Honey, have you seen Casino Royale?
What's your name, Daddy?
You know my name. I'm not gonna play this game with you. Pick up? Hold on, Daddy's in the fight of his life right now. Okay, Daddy can pick you up now. Hello. Hello. I tried going? Yeah, I tried going, but I didn't work too well for me. I was going too fast? Watch this, watch this. Oh, Dad, I'm gonna pretend to play. Daddy's gonna, oh, watch out, he's got a hammer. Be careful, be careful. Watch out, he's got a hammer. Okay, guys, he's hiding inside of the building. We got him. Don't worry. I'll just throw some impact grenades at him. Oh, no. I'd like to change to the other player, please. Is there a way to change spectator? I need this guy to come through in the clutch, man. We're gonna do it. Look, he's in the blue. He's taking damage. The grenades are... Daddy won! Daddy won the game! Look, even chat is like, they're saying, hooray, hooray! Stare, stare. This is the reaction I'm getting. Are you proud of Daddy? Daddy won. Are you proud of Daddy? Can you say hooray?
What's that?
Who? She said, who is that? She pointed to the screen and said, who is that? That's Daddy. Daddy, that's Daddy right there.
That's you right there.
She pointed to me on the preview window in OBS. That's me.
What happened to my head?
What happened to your head? Look. There's your head.
I see my face.
You see your face? Can you smile? Cheese. Say broccoli.
Broccoli.
Oh. And I'm getting lots of clips. So cute. Hey. Who did that? Who did that? Who did that? Must have been the naughty cats. Okay, we get it. Who did that? Ruka did that. Ruka, you farted? You think it was Tomo? Tomo's like, I gotta go. She cornered him under one of the dining chairs. She says, it's you pooped. Here, come here, honey. We gotta say goodbye to Chad, okay? My baby. My baby. I have your favorite dinosaur. I have your favorite dinosaur. All right, she's probably lost in Peppa Pig right now. I'm going to end the stream. I'll send you over to Kate.
A little aerial mist for you. Look at this mist. Isn't it neat? Doesn't it make your uninstallation complete? Don't I look like the Pog who has everything? Sorry. What is it called? Javelin tackle. I want to yeet where the streamers are. I want to dolphin dive into tackle. Popping my ult when you do your, what is it called? Atomic punchline. Sorry. So, but I can't stop. I'm not gonna, just because I said sorry doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. Up where they pog, up where they stun, up where they spam mist all day for their fun. Wish I could